Good evening, Thomas. If I could just start off with the usual team news question.
Evening. Yeah, everyone available for Arsenal is available tomorrow. Yeah, just had to think there.
After the nature of the approach against Arsenal, is it vital that you show some attacking intent tomorrow night? Is tomorrow night a game where almost the intent show and the performance is more important than the result?
I think the performance is always the most important thing, because if you can do that on a consistent basis, you have a bigger chance of getting results. I watched the game back. That was a hard watch. We were not good. Bad performance. Not running away from that in any way. The biggest thing that there was plenty of intent and what we wanted to do, but we just couldn't execute it on the day. The biggest thing for me was the most disappointing thing was that we are not able to compete, and I was convinced that we can compete on the day. That didn't happen. We had 53 situations where it was like a dual second ball situation where either Arsenal went long, we went long, and like in a normal football game. And we came out on top on 17 of those, lost 36. So if you don't do that, that is the basic, then it's very difficult to win football match. So tomorrow we are facing another of the best teams in Europe away from home. So it's a nice challenge that we're 100% up for. And I'm convinced we'll bounce back with a good performance.
And just secondly, from me, you were visibly pretty angry in the Emirates press conference room on Sunday evening, and I can tell you're still pretty annoyed about the performance. Have you seen that same anger from the players and the same real will to put things right tomorrow?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's been two good days with talks and meetings, of course. Let me think. A meeting yesterday, of course, a main meeting, and a meeting today, a main meeting, and mainly about us. How we improve, how we go forward, because in football there's setbacks, and it was a setback Sunday. It's all about how you react, because one thing for sure, you're not going through life without setbacks. You're not going throughout football season without setbacks. It's how you react to it.
Tom. Hi, Thomas. Just wanted to ask you about Randall Kolo Muani. He's eligible to face his parent club. He's had a stop-start to life at Tottenham, mainly due to injury. How frustrated has he been? How desperate is he to make a big impact at Spurs?
Nah, of course he wants to perform. Every player wants to perform and show their best. No doubt about that. And that's how can you say? Mostly feel with Kolo. He came very happy to join Tottenham and perform for us, and we were very happy to have him. And then he got that dead leg that took longer than we thought it would do, and then he got the broken jaw, and so there's been a little definitely stop-start. Plus he came and was not fully. He was fit, but he was not top fit, because he came from a pre-season where. So all that has been playing a little bit catch up. So I'm convinced we'll see more and more good stuff from him.
Can I ask Wilson, as a fellow Frenchman, but also against Copenhagen, I think he set up your goal there. You must know his quality, Randall, very well. How good a player is he from someone who plays with him on a regular basis?
Tout d'abord, on sait que
we know that Kolo Muani is a quality player. So for sure to have him with us is really beneficial for us. He always gives the best of his ability, the best of what he can do at practice, and it can only be beneficial for us. I found the contact of your U15 coach in Paris. I've exchanged with him, and he said that you were really respectful. Do you remember in 2019 you were here and collecting the balls in the Champions League? Yeah, I remember. We were holding the big UEFA flag, and now it's so great to be able to be back as a player. It was such a dream, and now I have now objectives and goals. I'm not like a kid anymore. I want to perform, and I really want to give as much as I can to my team.
there's unfortunately been a lot of negativity after the Arsenal game. I just wonder how you have tried to reframe, almost reset with the squad, with the players.
First, what a wonderful story with Wilson there, being part of that as an under 15-year player. Now he's sitting here. I think that's we need to remember that. Thank you for that question, because we always forget that in all the focus on winning and losing and all that. So that's what football is about. Back to your question.
Just the actual joy of
why
exactly. We do this.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we do it. We're all part of loving football. We started, all of us, playing in different levels, just watch it, and that's why we're here. But back to your question. No, when you have tough defeats, and tough defeats can be two different things, but especially if you don't hit a top performance, not if you hit a bad performance, that's where I need a bit... how can we say, maybe deeper analysis and talk about a bit of a reset, but definitely that bounce back. And I think there is something in as I said from the beginning that it came in, we are in a fantastic 4-game spell, if you can say that, 4 games in 10 days, Arsenal away, PSG away, Fulham home and Newcastle away. As 3 very difficult away grounds, difficult game against Fulham. 2 of the best teams in Europe we are facing inside 3 days. That's the challenge we want. That's the challenge we want to embrace. And on the way to be very competitive, there'll be ups and there'll be downs. And it's how we react to it, how we learn from it. And the players will learn from it, I will learn from it, and we'll move forward from here.
And secondly, I was just going to ask this in terms of the back 5, which, given what was said and all of the fallout from the game on Sunday, would you have any hesitation about playing that back 5 again, as you did in the Super Cup?
The beauty of the first part of your question is good, because all the fallout, I don't read anything, no articles, no social media, so I actually don't know if there was a fallout. But of course, my good friend here to my right said there could maybe come a question about that. And I will go back to the first question with Jamie, I think, was with we didn't win enough of these duels. We're not aggressive enough. We're not going forward enough, and playing forward enough. And if you play 4-3-3, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 7-9-13, doesn't matter if you are not doing that. I'm not in doubt of that.
George.
Hi, Wilson. A question to you first of all. You played here with Xavi Simons for, I think, a lot during the 21-22 season. And it felt like ever since he came to Spurs, your kind of connection has been instant. Have you kind of felt that? And, I mean, how good do you think he can be? And how good do you believe you can be as well in the long run?
C'est sûr que, voilà.
Yes, for sure. Being younger, playing with Xavi, we definitely have a natural connection. It is the same with the other players, though. I'm trying to connect with everyone, but for sure, obviously, Xavi, I know him very well. He will love to combine, if he wants to combine with me, I will be. It's really natural to play together.
Thomas, just one for yourself. It felt like you had a good start. Man City away. It's now 3 wins in 11 games in all competitions. Why do you kind of think things have started to unravel a little bit, and how confident are you of getting this sort of team and this project back on track?
That's a good question. I think sometimes you there will always be a little, how can you say, not unstable, but the performance is a little bit up and down. I'd say if it's the picture I've made of we play 60 games in a season, there will be maybe 10 to 12 perfect games. Then there will be whatever 30 average plus games, and some average and some below that. And it's about to be consistent enough and perform at a high level and be competitive in the games. And I think we accept some games, because one thing is defeat. Except, let's say, the Chelsea and the Arsenal game, I think the other games we've been competitive in, and it's about that. And then keep doing everything we can to be better and better to create enough chances to win the football matches. We have still scored quite a few goals. My teams always score goals, which is on 5 goals, for example, which has not been in a long time. So we'll keep working hard on it.
Hi there, Thomas. You've got this great mantra: if you don't take risks, you are taking risks.
Yeah.
And does it frustrate you or maybe hurt you at all when people are claiming that this Tottenham team of yours isn't taking risks?
If they don't think we do, I think we do. Maybe we should do more. I think it's fair to ask the questions. We're not creating enough chances, which is reality. It's my job to do everything to make sure that we do what we can to create more and more chances, be better and better at it. That's what we work very hard on every day, to find the right formula for that. And that's part of the play, but also part of it is also how aggressive we are under pressure, how we can win it, and there can be half more open spacious opportunities, half transition, full transitions. I think it's also fair to say that Arsenal's 3 of their goals were on half transitions. So that's where we need to be good as well in those situations.
Thank you. And one for Wilson. Obviously, had such a difficult first season at Spurs with the injury, and it really fragmented your season. Is this a season where the Spurs fans can kind of see the real Wilson Odobert?
Non, après voilà, je me suis toujours.
I've always been playing 100%. I've also been injured, unfortunately. I've been working very hard to get back to my level. I'm still young, and I still have a space for improvement, of course. And I don't have I don't set any limit for myself. I do have objectives and goals, and I will always give 100% of what I can. And yes, that's about it.
Hi, Thomas. I know you've already touched on Randall a little bit, but can I just ask you what he offers that's different to the other forwards that you have?
Yeah, I think Randall. I like his link-up play. I think he's very good at that. I think his ability to run behind, and I think also ability to go 1v1. I think he's very good in those situations. I think that's probably a little difference. Then he's also good in the box, and yeah.
I know you mentioned the 53 dual/second ball situations. When you're analysing them, was there a particular reason why you lost? I think you said 36 of them, or a particular pattern that emerged?
Very, very simple. We were not aggressive enough, in my opinion, when we pushed forward. We were not securing the ball well enough. It's also part of that. We were not landing in the right areas for where the second ball landed and stuff like that was the main bit.
Tom. Hi, Thomas. You mentioned that performances can be up and down in a season. I guess that's particularly true, when a new manager comes in. You'll be aware that Tottenham have had 6 managers now in 6 years.
What, sorry?
6 managers in 6 years at Tottenham. I mean, how important do you think it is that they stick with one now? They stick with you and have some continuity?
Very important. Part of taking this job was to sit here and have the challenges. Of course, I would love to sit here and we've beaten Arsenal. And then face Paris tomorrow night. We lost badly. Part of that is to manage those setbacks and learn from it and move on from here. One thing I'm 1,000% sure of: I know how to build a team. I know how to build a club, and we will do that. And along the way, we will learn. And how we and the big thing is how we learn from the bad spells, because that's where we can see that when we go 1-0 down, how do we react as a team? The best teams, they just continually just move on. They still run hard. They still do the same thing. There's no doubts in that. And the first 4 months, I learned a lot about the team. I learned a lot about the individual players, and all that learning that need to materialize to how we find the right formula with the right players on the pitch, and also with some players coming back, and then we play every third day. That's the big challenge, but that's what I embrace.
When you say you know how to build a club, I mean, I guess that's time, isn't it? You know, it's players getting used to your methods.
Yeah, of course. I think no one. I think even Enrique here. I think it's fair to say that PSG has been on another level than Tottenham the last 5-6 years, something like that. But also this is his third season. His first season also had to take a lot of battles, and they in those years also turned everything around from playing with the biggest players in Europe to less stars, very, very, how can you say, determined players that play for the team. And he created one of the best teams in the world by making those changes. And even last year, that's the beauty of football. Fantastic season, winning the triple. And they were close to get knocked out of the Champions League. It's margin sometimes.
Matt, we'll finish with you, please.
Hello, Thomas. I think you mentioned on Sunday you picked up a team finishing 17th last season. Can you give us an idea of how much, bearing in mind the way the team played last season, how much work you had to do defensively?
Yeah, but I think defensively, actually we've been quite good defensively. Of course, we maybe didn't look that way against Arsenal. I think we...
To change from last season?
To change that? I'll try to ask the question again, sorry.
How much work have you invested in changing the team from the way it played last season? When you went to Brentford and you came up, you said that you started by making sure they were solid at the back. Has the same operation started the same way at Spurs, I suppose, is
because I think that was the how can you say, for me, the biggest thing to focus on, because again, no team win anything if they can't defend. You can look at the team that is on top of the table, no matter how hard and how tough it is to name Arsenal as a Tottenham head coach. They defend very well. Liverpool, when they won, defend very well. City, when they won, they defend very well. So that's part of it. Then we hope we can keep up creating chances that we struggle a little bit with. So we need to look into that as well. But defensive part of it is just very important.
But on top of that, how conscious are you of the way that the fans at Spurs demand that you play, and how long realistically does it take to put something a bit more adventurous on top of being solid at the back?
I think that hopefully will not take that long time, but I think it's fair to say, I think the young man next to me, Wilson, which I think is a fantastic player and I think got a huge potential, and I also think he, compared to last season, really taking a step up, and have big hope for Wilson. But he's still taking over from a Klopjet and Sonny, for example, that played last year, and a Madison and a Solanke and a Kulusevski, which was the main guys. I've said that before. That's not the same that Wilson, Brennan, Mo, Xavi, Matty, Richie, whatever, they can't do it. It just takes a little bit of time in that. And then the next bit, then we have to play every third day in Premier League and in Champions League. So just it's no complaints, just the way it is. Just make it a little bit more complicated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.